Let's start unbolting this. I've moved everything from the intake manifold. So I'm going to do a minimal cleaning of it all. And an inspection, of course. Before I do all that, I still got all these spark plug wires here. So I'm going to pull them off one at a time and just get the distribution cap and rotor off. Spark plug wires. Hopefully I got new wires, but maybe this is make life easier. There we go. That was okay. Popped off then. Okay. It's just there. So that one to the coil has one single one. This one has two. It's on the second bolt. This one has three on everything except the main coil wires on the front one, but we're just gonna pull it out off the way. Of course, it's easier now because I've removed the heat shield. There's a heat shield that bolts with 3 bolts onto the chassis, and when your life is much easier once you get that off. Okay. Idea is you just don't want to be pulling on the wires themselves. So ideally you have a boot puller, but if you don't, the best way to get it with one of these your fingers is you just want to squeeze there and upwards. Try not to do it here or here because you will sever the spark plug wire easily. Ask me how I know. With that out of the way, I can pull off the distributor cap and get the wires out of the way so I have more room to work with. Apparently all I need is this Phillips screwdriver. At least on this side, I can't see. I thought it was going to be a bolt, but it missed just a screw. Alright, it's loose enough. I'll go ahead and climb up in here. See what we're dealing with on this side. Yeah, same thing. Hopefully this is right out of there. It does. What's holding this up? I don't want to drop any screws or anything. This evap purge valve is what it's called. I guess we had some coil wire. We didn't take that out. But for now, until we remove it properly, I'm going to move it to the center here so I can at least move this out of the way. So not too bad, I suppose. We'll just keep them all connected for reference and quick installation. This is what a new one will look like. Or is that from the rotor? Somehow. So it's supposed to be like that. This just presses in. While we're here, that's what this one looks like. We got a replacement one, but it's not damaged or anything. Just a little bit of, I guess what would be corrosion. We can clean that off there a little bit before we get back into it. But looks like it's keyed, so for that last stud, looks like on this side anyway, it's 7/16, but it's probably a stud going into the bottom. So we can pull the fuel rail off and see what we're looking at here. I've got some valve cover bolts that that should be the same size. This sensor. Okay. Not sure what it is, but it's maybe a temperature sender for the intake air temperature sensor that goes to the PCM, I'm guessing. Yeah, I gotta pull out the whole stud. I forgot about that, so let's keep it all together, and I guess probably won't be able to lift that fuel rail in there because that bracket is held down by that stud anyway, so you see, it's already in. Alright, so we'll pull out the whole stud. So on that one bolt there. Okay, so these are locked in one by one. I don't want to lose any of them. Pain in the butt to try to wait around for some simple parts that you could just hit in. She should just be able to. See, it snaps right out with it. Alright, so these should just come out then. Okay, so here we are. This is the fuel injector rail. Basically, and by the way, that is the duty cycle solenoid for the evap system. Apparently I'm not supposed to remove the clips until the end. I'm supposed to just, everything is connected. And that is a temperature sensor, by the way. I'm supposed to rock and then back, but it's going to be a two-hand job here. Well, most of them came out just by wiggling, pulling them out. It's just an O-ring, really. Just don't want to break anything getting the last two out. Okay, there's the fuel rail out. But yeah, there is some fuel there in the lines here. But yeah, there's the O-rings. These are the fuel injectors. So they're electrically powered, and I guess it just atomizes. It's like a jet. Each one of these are like little jets. Fuel injectors are off. That's what I was worried about the most. Now I should plug all these up. Just get the right size. I'm just gonna keep shit out of my cylinders for now. Plug it up. Obviously, they'll be exposed once I pull this off anyway, but don't know when I'm going to pull it off, so plug it up for now. Okay, last things to remove here for me to make this, so I'll be able to clear before I start pulling off the bolts. Looks like 8 bolts total, but I've got 2 sensors here. I believe they're both engine coolant sensors. One on these second generation goes to directly to the PCM, and the other one goes directly to the gauge. That gray one down there, and this black one I believe is the one that goes to the PCM, and then the thermostat, and then of course this hose, vacuum brake hose. So vacuum brake 1132. I gotta remove that from that one. Pops right out. This one should pop right out, but there was some locking mechanism on the plastic that kind of broke. I think it was. I don't see any obvious leakage. There's leakage here. I believe that's the oil and the valve covers. Shit's been leaking from the top here. Possibly the intake manifold. Here it looks like. That could just be RTV. We're going to replace those gaskets there. They don't seem brittle. I'm not seeing any catastrophic leaks. I did see all the leaks on the water pump. That's definitely been replaced. We got to clean these surfaces. But yeah, there's cake down there. I'm just not 100% sure it's coming from the timing cover. But we are going to replace this harmonic balancer. I mean, just from the backside, you can see it's cracking. So once we get that harmonic balancer off, the crank pulley, will be able to see what's going on there. Oh yeah, so this is new. I just had it there as a placeholder. But yeah, that's going to connect to the water pump. This is new thermostat, but what am I looking at? Looking at that. So that, I should be able to pull this brake vacuum hose off. Brake vacuum. The other vacuum hose is here. There's one that goes here. And now I think we are ready to start unbolting. So yeah, I finally got that one off. This little clip, more pain than I like to, but it was basically there. It's for the fuel injectors. You got the shorter one that goes, the fuel rail right there on that port. And the other one that goes onto that port. And then of course this one that goes on here. This is temperature sender of the air intake temperature, and this is the engine coolant, one of the 2. I think this is for the gauge here that goes there. And it gives us open access to these boards. So we're going to pull these out first on the passenger side. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's all crusted here, but I believe that's from the valve cover gaskets. So it's 13 or 1/2 inch will also work. Well, I sprayed a little bit of PB Blast on the top, but really it's got to be on the thread, so I don't know what good that's going to do. Let's see if we can get these. Perfect. 1, 2. I already got the corrosion on these. There's 5 of 12, I believe, is the total amount. Ew. There's some oil in there or something, huh? So from the front side here, one of our heater hoses that goes in the water pump.
Just trying to get access to it. Yeah, that wasn't torqued on at all, huh? It's kind of torqued. I don't know if these were torqued right. If it just came loose. Looks like he's Loctite on them.
Alright, here's the condition of our bolts. I think it's about time to change these bolts here. So this side, the driver's side, a little bit more messier with your harness. You got a lot of bigger harness. There's that one clip there that's holding on with the valve cover, and this one clip holding on this fuel line, which, anyway, our fuel line is coming off. It's a fuel line clip. It'll go onto that valve cover bolt there. That side of the harness tees off to the alternator, so we're not going to get it completely out of the way, but at least enough to access these remaining 4 bolts on our intake manifold. Let's start with the hardest, scariest one first. Okay, where's our other ones? And then some more here, right? That was barely on 2. Huh. I don't feel like these were torqued down, so we're gonna have to get some thread locker. I'll just make sure that, I don't see why there's any reason why you can't use thread locker on these intake manifold bolts, but they do have to be torqued properly in sequence. But I don't feel like a few of these bolts were torqued at all. They must have backed off or something, or weren't sequenced properly to set. All right, but at least broke so far. Get them all off by hand. 1, 2, 3. So theoretically, this guy should come right off. Yep. All right. I'm gonna do this with 2 hands. Pull it off carefully. Remove it. Make sure I'm not ripping any harness wires that I do so. That's the key. Okay, it's off. Before anything else, let's just do a quick preview at what the condition was like in there. We're going to close this off here before we start cleaning. Old gasket material. Looks like a lot of it will come off. Looks like it was kind of caking up here. I don't know, I guess it was starting to build up. Same here. Caked oil. I guess it must have just been popping up, getting dirty. Side here, inside our ports. Could have possibly been coming from our valve cover gaskets. Got into here. But yeah, gotten this far. Our bolts. Well, it looks like the bolts I got are the exact same ones as the ones I pulled out, so that's good news. This one should just kind of pull off. Doesn't look like it. Maybe it was changed recently. But yeah, it comes off as a whole. But you can clearly see there was some kind of something going on here. Not quite sure at the top. And that, my friends, is this intake manifold for Magnum 3.9 liter. You can see it's a little up here in the bottom. Greasy down here, all around here. But that doesn't necessarily mean it was all leaking from inside out. Anyway, it's time for a cleaning.